Hey guys, CliffHunterMcCliffHunter.com, and of course the house of biceps. Nation, I am here at the house of the biceps in the squat rack to discuss something very important with you today. Nation, I am here at the house of biceps in the squat rack to discuss something very important, and that's taking care of your barbell. Guys, we all know that the barbell could be one of the best investments you can possibly make. It is the most simple of simple things that you need to get strong, to get big, to be better in sports. You don't even have to have a squat rack. You don't even have to have a squat rack to squat, but you must have a barbell. Now, whether you run a commercial gym, a key club gym, a private gym, or it's your own personal gym, you have to take care of your barbell. Now, this is a Texas Power Bar, IPF certified. This is basically the standard. What makes this bar unique is I've had this several years, and I had this in this gym several years before I even had a roof. So when it rained, I would come in to train and water would be dripping off this bar. It's taken a lot of unneeded abuse. Now, I have cleaned this once. It's been about 6 weeks. The collars were not spinning at all, and now they do have some spin to them. So I have already put one shine on this, but it needs a little bit of work. Now, a big misconception is that rust on a barbell comes from moisture in the air. That's not necessarily true. Quite often, it's the moisture that will get trapped on the barbell between the chalk and the barbell that will cause that rust. So it's really important to get that chalk off. So I have a nice mean wire brush here, and I just go right over all the spots where I see extra rust, extra chalk. You always get the spots where everybody benches out here. You're gonna get a bunch of chalk off this. The spot where everybody deadlifts in here, you're gonna get a bunch of chalk and a bunch of rust. The rust and chalk is pretty deep. I'm not gonna get everything off, but I'm gonna get the highlights off right here. I can already see a lot of chalk coming off and a little bit of silver coming through. Now, I don't dig in, I don't push too hard. If there's a spot where it's not coming off, I'll go the other direction. I don't want to wear the barbell down. I just want to give it a good scratch on the back. Now, if your barbell is absolutely terrible, if it's almost solid rust and nothing will move, WD-40 could be your answer. Now, this bar is not at WD-40 stage. It was a couple of months ago when I began cleaning it. It was really, really bad. So I just put this in the rack, put a piece of carpet underneath, because you don't want WD-40 dripping all over the floor and then you trying to squat. And you just want to give your barbell a good solid coat spray of WD-40. Let it sit on there for a day or two, come back with a towel, wipe it off. Now, what I actually prefer is some 3-in-1 oil. Says lubricates, cleans, and prevents rust. Also says see cautions on the back label. You should probably do that. All I do is I put a generous amount on the areas that look the worst. Spread out. I let this just sit a little bit. Quite often, if I'm going to be here for a couple of hours training, I will put this on at the beginning of a training session as long as I'm not using this bar. I don't care if anybody else is. And just let it sit, let it soak in, let it run everywhere on this bar. But I'm just going to go across this bar, let a generous amount soak in. Then I'm going to come back and rub it through. Now, I have an old pair of gym shorts here. I use this for all the cleaning of all my bars, so it keeps a nice little coat of oil on it. Highly suggest you keep one of these in your gym. I want to keep it in a plastic bag so it doesn't get mixed up. Once you get oil all over your hands, you don't want to be touching everything else, other barbells, mirrors, other people, small children, things like that. So I just take this and just begin slightly rubbing this in, spreading it out. Now, it's not going to make the barbell perfect. It is going to make it a little oily and shiny. But I'm going to leave this on here until I come back to train in a couple of days. So it's going to spend the next couple of days soaking in and taking all that rust off and making everything nice and pretty. Now, once again, I'm not pressing down too hard. I'm just spreading this around because I'm going to let this oil do its work. And then when I come back in a couple of days, I'll go over it with this rag again and another rag. Most of this oil will actually soak into the barbell and clean it off. And of course, I'm going to train with it again. I'm going to load it up with chalk, but this barbell will be primarily clean. So as long as I just get chalk on it, I can scrape that chalk off with the brush and it won't continue to rust. So that's my goal right now, is just to get to that point to where the bar is clean and where the only thing I have left on it is chalk. Now, as long as you don't absolutely cover these ends and as long as you're training with collars, this won't be a really big deal. Actually, with this bar, it doesn't really make that much of a difference what kind of plate you're using, because this is a very high quality bar and most plates tend to fit quite snug on it regardless. Well guys, that is basically it. The only thing else I'm gonna do is before I leave, I'm gonna take this bar, stand it up vertically in the corner, and I'm gonna drop some drops of 3-in-1 oil just around the inside ring of this sleeve down here. And I'm gonna let just a few drops of that oil drop down into the sleeve. And that's gonna mean the next time I come in, it's gonna spin really nice. And the next time I go to leave, I'll drop some down this side, let the bar set up that direction. So if you train at home and you have your own equipment, protect your investment. This takes just a couple of minutes every week, every month, every few weeks. It's a great safety measure for your barbells. It's a great way to protect your investment. If you own a commercial gym and that little guy that now works for you that has fought so hard to get paid $15 an hour, the next time you walk in the gym and he's thumbing around on his phone checking out the Facebooks, show him this video. Hand him some 3-in-1 oil and a towel. Tell him to get to work. Because if you're gonna run a bar, run a good bar.